I'm referring to what happened to one of our own. Carver chose not to give the accusation merit. Instead, he said, "You and I both know justice was served. We're not in the business of justice, Vince. Speak for yourself. The CIA was the one side dealing with China." She huffed. "I don't condone what Officer Gunn did, and the agency appreciates your discretion in the matter. It's one reason I've convinced them to give you a shot." Carver leaned into the vintage tan leather of his Eames office chair and motioned for Williams to sit across from the desk. If there was one quality he liked about the case officer, it was her straight shooting. "I appreciate the good word, Linnell. How about we get down to it? This is about the bombing in Rome last week." She sat, somehow looking more stiff in the chair. 12 dead after a suicide bomber drove into a crowd and detonated. Terrorists affiliated with the Libyan National Army took credit, releasing a statement condemning cooperation with the West. Carver knew something of this world. He'd served 6 years in the U.S. Army's 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, much of that time in Africa, dealing with various Salafis and jihadis. Officially, the Government of National Accord runs Libya, sanctioned by the United Nations Security Council. In truth, the country is a hotly contested war zone. Various sectarians vie over territory and idiomatic influence in a resource-rich state. Larger powers, serving their own interests, back them by proxy. Russia and the United Arab Emirates outfit the rebels, while Turkey and Italy support the interim government. "They call Libya the gateway to Europe," said Carver, revealing to Williams his knowledge of the area. "Migrants cross into Italy to gain access to the EU. While the vast majority simply want a better life, they don't all have good intentions. You need help tracking a terrorist cell? Interpol has a handle on that aspect. We would like your cooperation, however, with protecting someone who escaped the blast." Williams slid a phone over the desk. It was a standard CIA burner, and it currently displayed a picture of a young woman. Carver picked up the screen to study it. "Her name is Katerina Litvinenko, a Russian figure skater in the Beijing Olympics. She spoke out against the abuses of her country and was ordered to return before the commencement of the Games. She refused and eventually received a humanitarian visa from Poland." Carver bristled. This kid was the target of a bombing? She's not a kid. She's 23, rich, and has a well-connected family. She speaks publicly about leaving her country, and she barely escaped the blast in Rome as her outdoor speech concluded. Frustratingly, Katerina refuses state protection. She's currently employing private bodyguards in Berlin. Officially, the CIA can't get involved. Katerina is too open about her dealings with government agencies. That transparency is why she's so popular, and why we can't push her too hard. We also can't risk a confrontation with Russian interests that apparently wish her dead. But private security like me is okay. Off the books, of course. More proxy battles, he chortled. It's the way today's wars are fought. There were only 3 photos of the girl on the phone, and in 2 of them she was holding a large handbag with a pampered dog sitting inside like an accessory. It was a Russian toy terrier, which resembled a black and brown chihuahua, except its ears and mane were fluffy. Katerina's hair was decidedly less fluffy. It was long, blonde, and expensively done. Carter was already yearning for his previously barren work schedule. "So the largest complication is the client," he summarized. "In more ways than one. Katerina doesn't publish a planned speaking circuit, so her movements are difficult to predict. Her appearances are mostly driven by on-the-fly social media activity. But we did find mention of an important future stop in Kyiv. I don't need to remind you that Ukraine is a non-NATO country, and tensions on the eastern border are ripe. The USA's mandate in the region is increasingly specific. We provide